Tokoyami's call cuts through the air again, and Shoji smooths down his ruffle feathers. They left the port quickly, aiming to reach their destination a couple days early, but Mina thinks their voyage will be a little delayed, judging by the billowing dark clouds up ahead. Kirishima starts to get a little nervous. He's been on countless expeditions aboard the Iowa government ships, but never for very long, and he's always been blessed with good weather. "I might be able to get around it," Mina says. "It's still pretty far away. We're lucky we left early, though. It'll cost us some time."
"Do what you have to."
Bakugou nods.
"Kiri, we'll postpone your training until the storm has passed. I want everything on deck to be staying where it needs to be. Mina, call me up if there's trouble."
"Yes, Captain." She nods. "Do you really think we can miss it?" Kirishima asks her before he follows Bakugou to his quarters. 50-50. Mina shrugs. "You scared?" Kiri looks at the clouds again.
"I've never been on a ship in a storm before."
"Well, no worries," Mina says, proudly squaring her shoulders. "I can take good care of the crepitus. It'll be a busy venture if it hits, but nothing I can't handle."
"When would it hit?"
Kirishima asks. Mina hums. "If we can't bypass it, it'd be late in the morning, I'd guess." Kirishima wonders how it is she can predict that. He plans on asking her soon, when she's not so preoccupied. "Thank you, Mina." She throws her head back and laughs. "God, you're the worst pirate ever, Kiri." Kirishima laughs too, as he descends the wheel deck. He thinks he's getting better, though, as his sword is already feeling like a natural weight against his side. Bakugou is already inside his chambers, so he knocks on the wooden door. He can literally hear Bakugou sigh dramatically when he does so, before he says,
"Stop being an idiot and come in."
"Habit," Kirishima says as he enters.
"Break it,"
Bakugou mutters. He's already undressed, and he's stretching his arms high above his head. Kirishima, despite all the times he's seen his naked form, can't help but stare at the tight muscles of his lean frame. He sets his sword down on the chest at the foot of Bakugou's bed. His thoughts make the airway heavy between them. Maybe it's because he's thinking about the storm, or because he can still feel the weighty ache of his muscles. But even with Bakugou, naked and very beautiful in front of him, he's uninterested, at the moment, in having sex. Captain," Kirishima says, clearing his throat. He feels strange, discussing it. Up until now, it was just actions that he went along with, willing and intrigued, and it's not that any appeal is lost on him. He thinks he's just tired and weary, the days catching up and the coming days nervous on his mind. "Tonight, I'm not sure I can do it." Bakugou tilts his head.
"Okay."
"Huh?" Kirishima says, surprised. "Really?"
"What do you mean, really, idiot?"
Bakugou says. He walks over to his desk, carefully peering at the titles of the books he has there. "Well, I figured you'd want to." Kirishima starts.
"Of course I do, love,"
Bakugou says.
"But if you don't want to, it's not a big deal. Your ass has had a beating the last few days. I'm honestly surprised you wanted it that much."
Kirishima blushes a little. There was a copious amount of fucking since he declared Bakugou fit for more rigorous movement. "We could still do a little bit if you want."
"Nah. Rest. You're no good to me tired. You can't keep your eyes open and you forget how to speak properly."
Kirishima snorts, nodding because it's true. Once he got tired enough, he may as well be dead to the world until he got a proper night's sleep. "Thank you, then."
"That's not something that needs to be thanked,"
Bakugou says.
"But I do have one task."
"Yes?"
"We didn't read Arabian Nights,"
Bakugou says, holding the text. "Oh, right. I forgot." Kirishima says. "We can start that." Bakugou climbs onto his bed, propping up pillows behind him. He stares at Kirishima expectantly, waiting for him to follow. "We'll need a candle." He brings one to the table beside Bakugou's bed and sets it down.
1001 Arabian Nights, Bakugou says, reading the cover. He flips through the blank pages until he reaches the first chapter, waiting for Kirishima to undress and climb in beside him. Why don't these pages have letters? Bakugou asks, flipping through them roughly with his fingers. It's a fucking waste. It's because chapters usually start at an odd-numbered page. That's stupid. Kirishima laughs. Yeah, I guess it is. Bakugou clears his throat. What's this word? Kirishima peers over. Chronicles. In the chronicles of the Bakugou frowns. Ancient. Kirishima says. He watches as Bakugou glances over the page. This is bullshit, Bakugou says, slamming the book shut. Kirishima smiles softly. It's a hard book. It's okay if it goes slow. You read it, Bakugou says. I'll follow along, then I'll do it out loud. Oh, good idea. Of course it is, Bakugou says, handing the book to him. Kirishima opens it again, clearing his throat before he speaks. Bakugou's weight is pressing into his shoulder intently as he looks at the page, intensely following along. Their closeness, so innocent now, makes Kirishima's heart flutter. He clears his throat again. Every evening he married a virgin bride, and every morning she was killed. Every day saw a girl married and a wife dead. Kirishima reads. Bakugou snorts. I like his style. I got a thing for virgins, too. Should I have been strangled in the morning? Kirishima asks. People get off on that, you know. Kirishima hums, not sure if he's the type. With Bakugou, though, he thinks he'd try anything. Keep reading. Bakugou nudges his shoulder. I thought you weren't in the mood. I'm not, Kirishima says, blushing. It was uncanny how Bakugou seemed to know the moment any dirty thought entered his mind. He clears his throat again. Kirishima reads, and then helps Bakugou through the same page. He still goes slow, and curses every time he says a word wrong or pauses for too long, but Kirishima is nonetheless amazed at his progress. He's a natural. The candle is half as tall as it used to be when Kirishima yawns. Your turn, Captain. There's no response. He glances down, suddenly overcome with warmth. He hadn't realized, but Bakugou's head rests heavy on his shoulder, his eyes closed, his breathing deep and even. He glances at the page they're on to remember it for later, and closes the cover. He manages to reach the book onto the nightstand and wave out the low flickering flame of the candle without shaking Bakugou too much. He still wakes, just enough to sleepily press into Kirishima's side as he settles into the furs, and then he's snoring ever so faintly once again. Kirishima brushes his hair out of his eyes. He whispers when he speaks, his words swallowed by the darkness and the sounds of the sea at night. You're so beautiful, Bakugou. Thank you for today, the sword, and for just reading this evening. Bakugou grunts in his sleep, breathing in deep, then letting out a hefty sigh. You're a pirate, but you're not a bad man, Captain, Kirishima says, his own eyelids drooping closed. He rests his head partly against Bakugou's shoulder, and sleep overcomes him at once. He awakes with a sharp gasp, startled by a thunderous crack, coupled with Bakugou sitting up fast. He blinks, confused, and shakes his head to clearness when he sees Bakugou's sweaty forehead and shaking fists, clutching tight into the furs. He blinks rapidly, and Kirishima is shocked into remembering his feverish nights. Captain? Kirishima asks carefully, not sure if he's awake or not. It's fine, Bakugou says, looking at him. He doesn't look fine, though. His eyes are on the edge of petrified. Yeah, it's fine. Nothing happened. Was it a nightmare? I said it's fine, Bakugou says, throwing himself down into the blankets, his back to him. Okay, Kirishima says. He glances out the porthole, water running insistently down the glass. The sea beyond is gray and rough, and suddenly the tipping of the boat is obvious to him.
He settles down into the furs and presses close to Bakugou's back. Is the storm bad? Not bad enough for Mina to wake me. Go back to sleep. He closes his eyes, but the swaying of the ship starts to make his head spin. He concentrates hard on his breathing, but the dizziness spreads until his stomach churns, and he sits up again, sweating. I think I'm gonna be sick, he says, speaking all in a rush so his mouth isn't open for too long. He swings his legs over the bed and stumbles to haul up a pair of pants. He needs to be on the deck, with fresher air in his side to vomit over. He has trouble walking, and in the back of his mind he wonders how it is that the contents of the ship aren't being thrown about. He's just steadying himself on the doorknob when Bakugou is beside him, hair stuck up on one side of his head from sleeping so solidly. He grips Kirishima's arm and leads him outside. Opening the door allows an onslaught of cold rain, and it's shocking, but it feels good on his skin. His steps are unsteady, and he thinks perhaps looking at the above-meter swells breaking on the ship is not the best idea to gain a level head. He only half reaches the side before he vomits. The contents of his stomach spill onto the wet deck and the rails. Bakugou is leaning a little ways away from him, unfazed. He'd hoped that the vomiting would make him feel better, but the seasickness is overwhelming, and his knees are weak. He wants to crumple onto the deck, but he does have pride, so he holds tight to the side and directs his next upheaval into the sea. Ah, Captain, Mina calls, her voice almost lost in the storm. Good morning. Kirishima didn't even know it was morning. It's so dark out. The storm crept up fast. We're on the outskirts of it now. Mina shouts. I'll have us out by evening, but we're a little off course. Tell Eijirou to take the wheel so you can get some rest. Bakugou yells back. Kirishima is still working on not throwing up the small bit that is in his stomach, but he doesn't succeed. He vomits and then dry heaves over the side of the ship, half wishing for a wave to come up and wash his sick body away. He doesn't know if he can handle this for an entire day. What do we do when the nurse is sick? Mina calls. Does he need some rum? Kirishima waves his hand quickly. That's the last thing he needs. Bakugou claps him hard on the back. Can't fucking believe you don't have your sea legs. The next hours are the longest of Kirishima's life. He stands frozen for some time, shaking, growing cold from the spray of the sea and the rain. Eventually, he moves to cling to the stairs to sit down with his head between his knees. Nothing left in his stomach to mess up the deck with, although the water would wash it all away anyways. The ship still makes him rock into the stairs rails, and his dizziness lasts for what seems like a lifetime. His eyes have been shut for hours, unwilling to open them and letting the rocking of the ship sway him back to heaving. But he opens them, eventually, when it seems to be a lifetime later, when all that's left of his sickness is hunger and shakiness. Any better? Eijirou asks. Kirishima didn't even realize he'd swapped places with Mina already. I'm afraid if I eat, I'll vomit again. Kirishima admits, his voice slightly unsteady. You look like you're dying, Sero says. He's walking, somehow perfectly balanced, along the ship deck. Thanks. It's the hottest look in Iowa right now, I'll have you know. Kirishima says, smiling tiredly. If you're well enough to joke, you're well enough to man the ropes, Sero says, jerking his thumbs behind him, grinning. I haven't slept a wink. Get to it, Kiri. Right. He nods. He finds when he stands he's much steadier than before, and his stomach just growls instead of upheaving itself. He pushes aside the hunger and focuses on matching their low sails to the hectic winds, following Shoji's quick commands. The wet ropes do a number on his hands, but he pushes through the raw sting and soon the sky brightens. He steps back after a while and finally raises the sails high again. Good work, Kiri, Shoji says. I'm guessing you just sailed through your first storm. Yeah, he says, furrowing his shoulders. Thanks. Good work to you too. Shoji chuckles and grabs his shoulder with a massive hand, shaking it. Okay, now I'd get your hands bandaged, unless you want the water to rot them away on you. Kirishima looks at his palms, rubbed raw and torn, his skin white and waterlogged where it's been pulled away. He clenches them, feeling the sting. He's always had tough skin, but that's no match for wet ropes. Even the roughest palm would be ripped weary by hours against the braided twine without being used to it. Kirishima wraps his palms in torn cloth and joins Sato in the kitchen so he can fill his stomach. He eats a lot, and probably too fast, but he feels like he's been out for days. He supposes they're off course a bit, so he looks for Mina and Bakugo in the map room, curious about the next course of action. Sure enough, he finds them, stooped over their maps. "Ah, look who's back on their feet," Mina says, cheery. "I helped with the ropes, actually," Kirishima says, proud of his progress. "A fine sailor," Mina nods. "And yep, your hands are taken care of. It's not as bad the second time around, so don't worry too much, Hen." He nods, smiling. I guess we're off course." "Not by much, actually," Mina says, looking back to the desk. 2 more days at sea, and we can port in time for the exchange." "May I ask, again, how do you know about the information?" Kirishima asks. He's never fully grasped their ability to find a single strange journal or cloth in the midst of, well, the entire world. Mina glances at Bakugo, who sighs. "The original owner of this treasure trusted certain people with pieces of the map. Having the map spread out would make it harder to find, and only capable of being found by people she deemed worthy. She passed the information down to her successor, who in turn gathered the map, added to the treasure, and dispersed the information once again. It's a matter of finding who they trusted, who those people trusted, and who they shouldn't have," Bakugo says. "Was she a king?" Kirishima asks. "No." "Was her successor?" "Yes," Bakugo says. He pauses for a second, but decides to speak. "Might." Kirishima nods. "And he passed it to you?" Mina freezes, making a pained face at Kirishima. He notes Bakugo's scowl before he turns away. "No." "Oh. To a companion." "Deku?" Kirishima asks. Mina slaps a hand to her face. "How do you know that name?" Bakugo whips his head around. You said it before," Kirishima says. "In your sleep. Did he help you with the map?" Bakugo clicks his tongue. "Stop asking so many fucking questions." He frowns, feeling bad he hit a nerve. "Sorry, Captain." "Don't." Bakugo sighs. Fuck. Yes, he helped me with the map, okay? Now shut up. What does it matter if you know or not? "Captain, he was just being curious," Mina says. She doesn't say it gently. Kirishima knows at this point that being careful with him would just make him more upset. "I think you owe it to him to answer a few questions, seeing as you're keeping him on as a regular crew member. He's already read all the info anyways." Bakugo glares at her, but Kirishima sees that he concedes. Kirishima leaves the navigational room after taking a look at their slightly new bearings, still feeling a little bad. He knew it was a sore spot, what with the nightmares and all, but he felt blind going into the treasure hunt, and the more information he had, the more he would be able to help. When Bakugo joins the crew again, it's like nothing happened, so he's grateful at least that there are no hard feelings about his prying. It's less than a week later when Bakugo takes a look at his hands and deems him fit enough to hold his sword. So after Kirishima fails again to block many of Bakugo's punches and high kicks, he takes up his new blade. He's a lot better at this. He's learned how to spar. But Bakugo is tricky and cunning, and his footwork is quick and hard to follow. Bakugo uses only one blade against him, but he doesn't hold back. He won't cut him this early in the match, but his blows are hard, and Kirishima's hands ache under the pressure. All in all, though, he stands his ground for longer than he would have in the past. "How?" Kirishima breathes deep, sheathing his blade, the night having settled in along the weariness of his bones. "How, though, can you kill so easily?" Bakugo knits his eyebrows together, glaring at him deeply. "Are you stupid?" He shrugs. "No, it's someone's life." Bakugo sighs. "It's either their life or yours. What are you going to choose?" "It's not always that black and white." "No,
but you gotta make it that black and white if you want to come out on top, Bakugou says, lip upturned in a scowl. If you don't get 'em when you can, they'll only get you later on.
Oh, Kirishima says. He feels like every other day he's hit with the blunt reality of this world of survival versus his old way of leisure. He forgets, with the way the crew's terrifying name keeps pursuers at bay. The only time he saw their sheer power was when they attacked the government boat he was on, and he understands the world's wariness about them.
If I asked you to kill someone, would you?
Bakugou asks. Kirishima looks at his sword. I don't think so, Captain. It'd have to be a pretty desperate situation.
Then it's a desperate situation,
Bakugou says.
Would you kill someone?
Killing someone would make me no better than my father, Kirishima says, frustrated by the pressure.
Your father.
Bakugou starts, stepping close to him, sword loose in his hand.
Killed the innocent. Maybe he did get a few bad men, but I've met those government dogs. They don't kill because they have to. They do it because they want to. It makes them feel all high and fucking mighty, Kirishima.
Kirishima swallows, the truth of it all really sinking in deep. Bakugou's words embedding into his set of morals, upturning the careful decrees he's known his whole life.
They kill for fun,
Bakugou says, lifting his eyebrows.
And Kirishima, you're stronger than that. So when the time comes, and believe me, love, if you're with me, it will come, for you to sink your blade into the rotting, blackened soul of one who wishes to cut short your one and only precious life, I assure you, you'll be wanting to save yourself.